Our next speaker is Sophia Kleanthous from Disabled People Against the Cuts. Sophia.
Hi, I'm Sophia. I'm a trustee at Inclusion London, and I'm here from Disabled People Against the Cuts. I want to speak to you about the disability benefit cuts and the movement and what we can do next. But first, I really want to look at some myth busting, because I think there's been a lot of falsehoods coming out of this. Myth 1, PIP is an out-of-work benefit. It's not. Personal independence payments, is what it's called, is actually a extra cost benefit. So it's the extra cost of disability. So for example, if you have a mobility aid, or you need to charge a mobility aid, or travel, or just bare survival, it's that extra cost. And so the cost of living crisis affects us more. And according to these cuts, it could be up to $4,000 on average that people lose. But with the universal credit uplift, health uplift also being cut, this could be up to £8,000, and we're actually seeing it could be even higher than that. Myth 2 is cutting benefits will save money. Poverty shifts, and it will put further strain on public services. In fact, in 2018, the MS Society did a full study that when the disability living allowance, which was another benefit, was replaced by PIP, it was between 2018 and 2013, 29% of those with MS lost the highest rate of mobility. Now that had an increase of the cost of the NHS and emergency services by 7.7 million. And do you know how many people that was? 10,000 people. So imagine 8,000 people across every single public service. The cost is enormous. Myth 4, disabled people don't want to work. Well, some of us can't, and that's fine. And then there's some that can, and some that work part-time. And all of us depend on PIP to do any of this. Actually, the Disability Poverty Action Group, they looked at the thousands of jobs on the DWP Jobs website, and this was looking at disability-confident employers and posted in the last 30 days. Now, of all those thousands of jobs, guess how many were remote? 104. But our colleague actually looked into it, and it turns out it's only 23. 23 accessible jobs for the hundreds of thousands of work-shy disabled people. Myth 5. The PIP system is so easy to scam. Disability benefit fraud is 0.1%. 70% of all new cases are rejected the first time, and it's actually known in the disability community you are probably going to get rejected the first time. Isn't that fun? Myth 6, it's really easy to get PIP. And I want to share a personal story for this. In 2022, after being made homeless and recently trying to end my life, I tried to apply for PIP for the second time after being rejected the first. Despite multiple diagnoses, being in hospital, and experiencing suicidality every single day, decades worth of experience, I will never remember the feeling, the heartbreak I felt when I looked at my letter and saw they said there was no evidence of my mental health. I did not get PIP for my mental health. I also didn't get it for mobility, because, I don't have any mobility issues. Like a lot of us, they don't see it in that way, because if you have a stick, you can walk 200 meters, you're fine. Myth 7, cutting benefits is like removing a 16-year-old's pocket money. I mean, they're not even trying to hide from infantilizing us at this point. It could be, as I've probably shown to you, it shows that it's not pocket money, it's a lifeline for disabled people. We're looking at, it could be 200,000 people in poverty, but now the numbers are looking up to 800,000, maybe in the millions. So what can you do? We did a massive protest this week called Welfare Not Warfare. Thank you. And we were completely astounded and honored by how many people turned up and showed up. All of the organizations we worked with were so happy and thankful for you. Thank you for everyone coming, but this is not where it stops. We have to keep going because the consultation is still ongoing. And there's some key moments that we really need to come together on. 2 minutes. We need to map and use and write our voices, look at local elections, and look at the MPs that have said that they will vote for this cuts. There's a recess on the 8th of April, and we want to do local actions around this. We also want to be really creative and find ways to do online actions, bring out the disabled community's creative and artistic nature, and show who we really are. I want to end with a very short part of my poem, if that's okay. I won't do the whole thing, don't worry. Yeah, don't worry. You want to do the whole thing? Yeah. All right, well, okay. Might as well. This is called What We Stand to Lose. Last week, I called the PIP support line. A panicked call, worried I'd lose my lifeline. She spoke softly and said, "Don't worry, dear, you're fine. You're really disabled, and these stop those who lie." I asked how she knew, because PIP fraud is negligible. She laughed, but her rhetoric was indefensible. Because that's when the poison spilled out. Scammers, fakes, and xenophobia to level it out. In the last week, the government defended cutting and capping benefits for those most in need. For families and disabled people, their hope pulled out like weeds. The final safety nets from assisted dying flew. Protection's gone for disabled, homeless, and those with mental health too. They aren't even hiding their contempt for us anymore, left to bleed into poverty like an open sore. When asked, "Could you live on £70 a week?" "No, I have a mortgage." Do they even realise the cruelty with which they speak? It's good, moral, it's right for the economy. Ah, yes, more pressure on public services who are already cracking from underfunding. So now under 22s, they obviously don't get sick. Get them into work, that will prevent all of this. Only the most severely disabled should apparently receive support. But if we aren't all included, it doesn't help anyone in our cause. Photos flying of women running one day and using a cane the next. Dynamically disabled people exist, and you shouldn't be so vexed. So here's what you can do as allies, friends, or simply as horrified. Write to your MP, check in with disabled people, rally the call, come protest, so we are unified. First, they came for disabled people, the poor and homeless. Please don't be silent or forget us. Power comes from hope, and this is the bandage needed to prevent further cuts. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophia. That was such an amazing speech, and be rest assured that all of us here you have our solidarity for as long as it takes to win this campaign, and I think we all agree on that.